Hey guys, and welcome to your old world video this week. As you guys know, every single Wednesday I produce a video for the old world. My whole purpose is to be a part of the kind of machine that keeps this game going, keeps it growing, keeps it alive, keeps the enthusiasm there. They are one of my kind of worst performing videos. Not a lot of people watch them compared to, painting up a space marine or whatever, but I'm going to continue to do them, to do my part and to show the success of the old world. So hopefully you guys appreciate that and you're enjoying this series. So previously all I've been doing is kind of painting videos, showing you guys how to get your old world miniatures on the tabletop. In today's video, I'm going to go through some theories that I have as to the future of old world in regards to what armies will be coming next. There is 2 books beside me which are hints to what I think might be coming in the very near future, and I'm going to go through why I think that right now. So in the beginning of Warhammer the Old World, we were shown 9 factions that they were going to be releasing for the game. The majority of these played very little or no part in Age of Sigmar. The big difference was Warriors of Chaos. Warriors of Chaos were of course a huge faction inside Age of Sigmar. They were the big bad, they were super important, but they were also the big bad in the old world and super important and needed for that game system. So how did Games Workshop divide that army up to both work in Age of Sigmar and in Warhammer the Old World? And it was fairly obvious what they decided to do. Once all of the plastic kits had been updated, so we had new plastic Chosen, we had new plastic Warriors of Chaos, we had new plastic Chaos Knights, and they left behind old plastic versions of those models. The new ones were for Age of Sigmar, and the old ones could then be retired from Age of Sigmar and then used in Warhammer the Old World. And that's the kits that we now have for Warriors of Chaos inside that game system, because they're designed originally to rank up for Warhammer Fantasy, so they just work. It makes sense. I still think the majority of them are beautiful models and it works perfectly. Now, if you skip forward to the reveals for Adepticon, they showed us 3 of the next coming armies. We have, of course, the Wood Elves, the Beastmen, and then Cathay. Those are all out, I think, fairly soon. I don't have any actual dates on them or anything like that, but I reckon they're all fairly soon. And once Wood Elves and Beastmen have been released, that is all 9 factions that they originally said they are going to do out. Plus a bonus, they've shown us Cathay, which is the most beautiful selection of miniatures you've ever seen. So I had no clue that they were coming. So that was a huge surprise for me. I'm very happy with that. But what happens next? They're not just going to stop. Okay, we've released the 9 factions, we've given you Cathay. There's nothing more to come. There's obviously more to come, but what is it? And I've been kind of racking my brain trying to figure out what armies they would do next. A lot of people think it's going to be something like Kislev. I don't think after the release of Cathay, an entire huge range of new miniatures, they're going to go straight in and launch another huge wave of miniatures again. I think they're going to go for a few soft releases like they've been doing previously, bringing back old kits. Not a lot of research and development design that needs to go into creating new models or new armies. They just take some old, metal plates out of the factory and they plug them back into the machine and they start printing out old Wood Elf high elf chariots and dragons and stuff like that, and it works beautifully. So with that in mind, I think Kislev might come, but it will be further down the line. So what are they going to do now? Well, in very recent times, they have redone all of the plastic kits for these 2 armies. It started with the launch of New Age of Sigmar and Skaven, and that's where I really started to get my brain kind of ticking along as to what they were doing and what they might do moving forward. As soon as we got new plastic clan rats, I was confused, because the old plastic clan rats were beautiful. They were flawless kits. I did not see the need in any way, shape or form to replace those kits, but they did, which is fine. Now they have a new plastic clan rat kit to go into Age of Sigmar and an old plastic kit that they can now put back into Warhammer the Old World. And if you look at all the releases that the Skaven got for Age of Sigmar, we now have new Poison Wing Globadiers, we now have new Storm Vermin, we now have new Vermin Lord, everything that we need has been retired from that range. We have old plastic kits sitting on shelves, ready to be restickered for the Old World and released. And I think that's what they were waiting for. If you look to the releases that are coming out in the very near future for Vampire Counts or Soulblight Gravelords, they've now even replaced the Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, which was a big, beautiful plastic kit. It was quite dynamic. I had nothing wrong with that kit. If they hadn't have shown me the new one, I would have had no qualms about them saying this is the one we're going to use forever. I'm like, cool, deadly. I've got one built and painted over there. Love it to death. Obviously, the new one is a hell of a lot better. It's an absolutely stunning kit, and we will be doing videos and content on that in the near future. But With that in mind, they now have a retired Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon. They have now retired zombies. They have now retired Skeleton Warriors. They have now retired Graveguard. They just brought a new Graveguard, retired. New Black Knights, retired old plastic Black Knights. So they have everything once again to launch vampire counts again in Warhammer the Old World. 2 bad guy armies, which I think are sorely needed in the story and the lore. And they're so characterful and so amazing. A lot of people were very disappointed that these miniatures did not exist. So that's my theory. Now, you're asking why? Why does there need to be a distinction between the factions? Why can't it just be, here's a box of clan rats, and it works for both? Well, Games Workshop needs to see the success and where the success is coming from. So if they just had a box of clan rats on the shelf and someone walked in and bought them, they didn't know whether to attribute that sale to Warhammer the Old World or to Age of Sigmar. And they do need to see where those sales go in order to know how much to invest into different products and different ranges and all that kind of stuff. So it can't just be as simple as, here's a model, it works for everything. Having said that, I think the direction they maybe should have gone down is what they did originally with the Demons. When Demons got redone, taken out of the Chaos book and launched as their individual factions, it was exactly the same models that were shared between Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40,000. And what they did is they simply had a different box cover, and then inside one was square bases and inside one was circle bases. So they knew directly, okay, Demons are making us money in Fantasy. That's where all the kits are being sold. All the square kits are being sold. That's where. So I think they could have very easily done the same thing for some of these kits. They could have a different box front for Warhammer the Old World with clan rats. In one is square bases, and then obviously the different one for Age of Sigmar. Inside that, circle bases, and then they would know exactly where those sales are going to go. That's just my thing. I think that would have looked really cool, but there is also another thing that they have to take into consideration, and it is a reason that Age of Sigmar has the best fantasy models in the entire world. Nothing comes close to them. They're incredible. And the freedom of being on circle bases means that they can pose them in any way they want. They can have big flappy wings, or they can have, capes billowing out behind them. They can have their big action poses, swinging swords, and they don't have to worry about this guy needs to sit next to 2 other people and in front and behind another model in a big ranked up unit. So obviously you've got to be slightly more restrictive. Warhammer Fantasy models are very much closed in, shield close, spear up high, so they can be ranked up in huge big units. So although I think you could have done that, I think the route they've gone down now works, and I'm happy enough to continue enjoying Warhammer the Old World using the old kits. Warhammer the Old World for me is just nostalgia central. I love it to death. And I love now that I'm a better painter than I was when I played it properly kind of 10 years ago. And now I can kind of get the armies that were in my head, and I kind of have the skills to put them on the tabletop and make them look like I wish I was able to back in the day. One of the things I'm most proud of in my hobby that I've done in the last 5 years is my fully painted Bretonnian army. I love it to death, and it's something that I couldn't have done 10 years ago. So I am okay with old miniatures being brought back, getting to paint them up, and really reliving the golden years of Warhammer the Old World. So that is my theories. If you can think of the different releases, let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm onto something? I can't think of another Age of Sigmar army that has enough kits kind of retired or replaced to then go into Warhammer Fantasy. Like ones that I'm super excited for, and I hope they do soon, and there's loads of rumors about it, is things like Ogres. Ogres were my first Warhammer Fantasy army, and I would love to see them stomping back across the old world. And if you look at what they've done recently, we've gotten new Gorger kits for them for Age of Sigmar and stuff like that. I don't think they sculpted them alone. I think there's a Age of Sigmar Ogres coming soon. Once that happens and those older kits get retired, boom, they can be plugged right into Warhammer the Old World, and we can get that army in there as well. What do you guys think about my crazy rantings? Do you think I'm onto something? This is my predictions. I reckon in the next 6 months these predictions may come to fruition, and if they did, you can just call me the new Valrak, because I'm clearly... Is it clairvoyant? I don't know. I know what's going to happen in the future, so let's see. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. These things cost you absolutely nothing, but they make a huge difference as to how many people get to see these videos and how quickly the channel grows. If you want to support the channel even further, there's a number of ways to do that. Patreon, becoming a channel membership, or if you're doing some hobby shopping, make sure you check out our links below. We've got links for a UK distributor and links for a European distributor. Those two guys give you like 20% off your purchases, save you a bunch of money, and the channel gets a little bit of a kickback too. So If you want to be kind, then do check all that out. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of this video. Hopefully you are on the same wavelength as me, and we're all excited to see what happens next in Warhammer: The Old World. Peace out.